Love, Death plus Robots has held a special place in my heart since Season 1. It's an animated anthology series with short-form storytelling and has consistently kept me on my toes with the genre changes nearly every episode. Sometimes you'll be watching a lighthearted episode about yogurt taking over the planet, a tiny zombie apocalypse, or an episode about a group of mercenaries trying to kill a robot bear. Then there are more Lovecraftian horror episodes, like when a crew of a ship found out they had a stowaway of a giant man-eating crab that's making them take it to a populated area so its children could grow. Oh, and by the way, it can communicate through dead bodies by using its tentacles to control the vocal cords. Anyway, for the most part, these episodes, outside of a few exceptions, wouldn't really tell a huge, complex narrative. They were just great ways for animators to tell a fun story. And because of how short the episodes are, even if some weren't good, there was no real point in criticizing them. Although it was fun to binge watch the entire series, there was never really one episode in particular that stood out to me. Except for one. Season 3, Episode 9, the last episode as of recording this, titled Jibaro, an episode about a deaf knight and a lake-dwelling siren-inspired lady covered in jewelry that become infatuated with each other for the wrong reasons. From the art style of the episode alone, I immediately knew that at least visually this episode was going to be the weirdest. And oh boy was I correct. Jibaro was directed and written by the same person who wrote and directed Season 1 Episode 8's The Witness, Alberto Mielgo, and visually they are very similar. Both episodes incorporate visual storytelling, however one of the biggest differences between the two is that Jibaro has basically zero dialogue and must lean more heavily into telling a story with just actions. Like mentioned before, the episode takes inspiration from old tales of sirens, half woman, half fish that would use their hypnotic and melodious voices to lure sailors to a watery grave. Something that very much so happens in this episode with the way the soldiers were drawn to the Golden Lady, literally dancing to their deaths. Something we see the Golden Lady not minding too much, but becomes saddened to find her screams not working on the deaf soldier. A scene in the episode that would make me realize the underlying theme of this story. This episode, while being a story about a siren falling for a deaf soldier, is a representation of toxic relationships. Ones where two people want the wrong things from each other. The soldier representing those who seem to only desire people because they're attractive, treating them more as a trophy or something to be won instead of an actual person. And we see the toll that it takes on the Golden Lady. After getting what the soldier wants, he leaves her damaged, and not at all the person she was at the start of the episode. Something that also supports this is that the Golden Lady represents someone who can seemingly get anyone to love them, but only falls in love with people that won't love them back. If we stop looking at the episode literally, we can start to unveil a story about a woman whose beauty can make any man fall in love with her, and because she's used to this, shows no interest in any of them. But she becomes infatuated with someone who shows no interest in her because she's never experienced that. As a result of falling for someone who doesn't reciprocate her feelings, she's abused and stripped of the person she once was because the man didn't care for her and used her for things like sex or status in a social group. And despite the man getting his comeuppance at the end of the story, the lady is left broken, scarred from the mistreatment of a partner that didn't love her back.